Just recently, it was all over the news because, in fact, they've changed some of the statistics about Alzheimer's. And in fact, we used to report that it was the 6th leading cause of death in this country. They've revised that. It's now the 3rd leading cause of death in this country.
Yeah.
So it affects so many people. And it not only affects the people with the disease, but it really affects their family members, their friends, their loved ones, the caregivers.
Everybody is affected by it.
Everybody's affected.
The grandkids who say, where did grandma go?
Right, exactly. So every year we hold what we call our Caregivers Conference for those people who need to find out more about Alzheimer's disease, who need to find out how to care for their loved one with the disease, who need to find out more about what's happening with research.
The research is coming out that they can now kind of spot.
Well, there's some great stuff out there, and you probably just heard there's a blood test, and that's all exciting, except it's not out and available yet. Everybody's been calling our office, and it's actually it's actually because it's been all over the news.
They have announced that it's not available.
It's not available, but hopefully in the next 1.5 to 2 years, and that's for earlier diagnosis. But what we want to do is make sure that the people who are caring for their loved ones now with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia are able to get the resources and get the tools that they need in order to do a better job. So that's why we hold this annual Caregivers Conference.
And one of the things with caregivers, it's a burnout.
Oh, for
sure.
For
many of them. And I think this conference is designed to help them, and even getting some respite if they want to come to the conference.
So, well, first of all, a lot of folks say, I'd love to get out and go to an education program, I'd love to go to a conference, but I care for my loved one at home. How can I go to something when I need to be there? Well, we offer free respite for the day of the conference. So anybody who wants to come to the conference can call us and get information on how they can either get their loved one to go to a day program that day, or we actually even have in-home respite, so people would need to call us about that.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Now the date of the event is, let's just mention that that's going to be on April 10th.
Thursday, April 10th at the Albany Marriott. We've had it there for a number of years now, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful event.
What would they expect to see there?
So, well, we start off with a wonderful keynote speaker. We have Dr. Alan Power coming in from Rochester. He's a geriatrician. He's got some great ideas about caring for folks with loved ones. He's got a couple of books out. His most recent book, he's going to be talking about dementia beyond drugs, how people can help with some of the challenging behaviors around Alzheimer's without the overuse of medications.
Yeah, I mean, that's because they get comatose almost.
That's right, exactly. So he'll be doing a keynote. He'll also be doing a workshop. We have a selection of 4 workshops in the morning, a selection of 4 workshops in the afternoon, wonderful networking opportunities over lunch, over 50 exhibitors with all kinds of information about and day programs, tools, transportation, Wander Guard services, so lots of information.
Wander Guard, what's that?
Well, folks who have Alzheimer's are at risk of wandering and becoming lost. And in fact, last summer we had a tragedy right in Schenectady with that happening.
Yeah.
So we have things low-tech, high-tech to help ensure that somebody either doesn't get lost.
Like a GPS?
Well, that's the high-tech, or something as simple as an identification bracelet that if someone does get lost, we can help them to be found quicker. So
I had someone call me once who was a family member, and she said, I'm so worried. I was driving and I didn't know where I was anymore. And she said, I had so much trouble trying to find my way home. And I thought, oh, this sounds like the beginning of...
and we hear those stories quite often. So we'll have information on that. We'll have a closing session to talk about the research updates and blood tests and diagnosis.
And the blood tests are fine if there's something that you can do to help delay it or prevent it. But just to know it sometimes is kind of scary.
Well, the thing that early diagnosis does is, 1, we found that treatments work better the earlier that they're started, and 2, the earlier you know, the better off you're going to be for planning purposes. And don't we all want to be a part of our long-term plan?
Exactly.
So that's why we really promote early diagnosis. The other exciting thing is in our closing session, we're going to have the Joy Tones perform.
Oh, we had them
and
on
I
the
know
show.
you had them here, and they're wonderful.
I should have brought a clip.
Oh yeah, the Joy Tones are just fantastic. It's a group of people with early stage Alzheimer's and their caregivers, and they are just fabulous. So they're going to be with us too.
And they're really, they were fun. We had them all here, and they were singing, and I should have brought a clip.
Oh, well,
I
that's
thought
we'll
about it.
we'll come back.
Come
We'll
back
come
again
back, and
because
we'll
we
make
need
sure
more
that you have the
footage
joy
from them.
tones. And people often think of Alzheimer's, and it is a devastating disease, and they always think of the negative, but there's some real positives, and the joy tones are one of those real positives.
Well, not only that, but music seems to be something they don't forget.
Music therapy is a huge part of Alzheimer's treatment, and one of our conference workshops is talking about complementary therapies.
Oh, good.
Music therapy and aromatherapy can work really well, especially in helping to deal with some of those difficult behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got just a really chock-a-block full day, and I told you we have respite care free to anyone who calls and would
that's
like to get that.
wonderful, yeah.
We also offer scholarships because there is a cost to come to the conference, and it's very low. It's $35 for a family member who is a caregiver.
But you do have scholarships as well.
But we have scholarships. All somebody has to do is call and ask us about those.
Okay, good.
So-
Gretchen, it's always a pleasure to have you
we
on
are
because
so
you are
grateful.
doing so much positive energy is going into helping caregivers, and
Yeah.
it's so important because I've known people that have been caregivers and they are exhausted, totally exhausted. They're working full time and they're running here and they're doing that, and
Yeah.
it's just
And we tell people all the time, you have to take care of yourself first.
You
Because
can't
if you
take care
don't
of
take
someone-
care of yourself first, you can't take care of someone else.
Absolutely.
And not only do we have the Caregivers Conference every year, but we have so many programs at the Alzheimer's Association to offer care and support for
You have a website
everyone
they
going
can
through this.
go
And
to?
we have a website.
go to their website, check it out.
alz.org/Northeastern New York. We have an 800 number, and people can find us, and we request that people do find us.
Please. There's help out there. Find out about it. Right here, Gretchen Moore Simmons is going to tell you how you can get some help. And
That's right.
Check out that Caregivers Conference. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here.
so much, Ann.
And coming up next is all about the Beatles. And then after that is the Erie Canal. Stay tuned.
I would hide liquor in the trap door underneath the carpet. So when the inspectors came down, they bang on the walls looking for a hollow spot. And when he didn't do that, well, the minute my mother saw the inspector, she'd say in French, "Il va sit-toi, sit-toi." That means sit on the potty, sit on the potty. There was a potty there in the middle of the floor on top of the trap door. Just say to myself, I wonder why I have to sit on the potty when they don't have to go to the potty, but I'm going to sit on the potty anyway. Sit on the potty, right on the top trap door, with the carpet over it. The inspectors go around banging on all the walls and everything, on the ceiling, and they see me sitting there, and they just go right by me and go upstairs and never tell me to move.
Well, if you've ever had a hard day's night, we're going to find out that there really was a hard day's night hotel.
Yes, there is.
And with me, I have, her name is Sandi Borowsky.
Borowsky.
And she decided, being a Beatles fan, that you were going to go back to the UK, England,
Right.
London, Liverpool, and find out where Abbey Road was, and where Strawberry Fields, and where he wrote Imagine. Tell me about that trip.
Where do you want me to start?
Anywhere.
Well, it started out as a thing between my husband and I where I told him I wanted to go.
And this is the book, by the way.
And he told me I had to get a job.
You had to get a job.
I had to get a job.
Okay.
So I got a job. And then I just went. And I have a lot of really cool friends, and they were all like, okay, well, we're going to take you
You had
here.
Facebook friends that
I
you
had-
found.
Well, yeah, but now they're like, we talk all the time
Now,
on the
they're,
phone.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's, I mean, because you went and met somebody there, Eric, or somebody.
Oh, I met so many people.
Just cold. You just,
Yeah.
just had no.
Just John. I was just like, I had no idea. And I
Yeah.
walked in and I said, are you John? He went,
Oh,
yeah.
John,
And
that
I
was
went,
it.
okay. So
Yeah.
and off we went for the day in London.
Maybe the best way we can do it is to look at some of the photos, and then that's a picture of
That's
your
the
book.
picture of the front of the book.
And then maybe you can tell us what we're looking at.
That is the John Lennon Peace Memorial. That's where it used to be. Then now they've moved it down by the O2 in Liverpool,
Okay.
which I'm not really fond with. And that's just the bottom of it where it tells you what it is.
Okay. So they're pretty popular there.
Just this
just
much.
a little
just
bit,
this much.
just a touch.
That's an art exhibit that hangs in the Liverpool In Liverpool, it's called the Cavern Walks, and I just thought it was so cool.
That's where they performed the first time was in the cavern, wasn't it? Or in the garage, or no?
No, I think the first time is probably the Jacaranda.
Oh, okay, and you got a picture of that, I think. You went there.
Yeah, that's the back of the Jacaranda. That's the original sign.
Okay.
Right now, today, the Jacaranda is closed.
Okay.
It's in the process of being reopened.
Can't let that go.
No. That is Abbey Road. I'm sorry, let me take that back. That is Apple Studios where they performed their last concert on the rooftop.
And you went to one, Paul McCartney's house, and you thought he was
Yes.
moving out?
Well,
What was going on?
because when the door was open and there was a bed frame in the doorway, and I'm like, well, what the heck? Was he moving? Why is there a door in the middle of the? And they're like, oh no, he's not moving. I'm like, okay, there's just a door there.
You
a
just
bed
didn't
there.
hang around to see if he came out then, or you
We
don't
hung
know?
around a
Yeah, I
little,
know,
but
yeah.
that's
Then you'd be a stalker, so
exactly.
you can't do that.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. As it was, we were there enough.
Yeah.
We got
okay,
pictures
and we're
inside.
looking at the
This
grape.
is just the grapes. This is another bar they used to go to because the Cavern did not sell liquor.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So they would walk from the Cavern to the grapes. And that's just,
Great shot.
yeah, thank you. That is what they call the Three Graces, and that's the liver bird on top. And that is Paul's house.
Now you were mentioning in there that the photo with Abbey Road with him walking, that he's barefoot, and that he was barefoot because he didn't live too far from there.
That's what the man said, but the more I researched it, that's just a bunch of baloney.
That was just an old.
You can see a picture
tale,
actually,
huh?
yeah, where he actually kicks off his sandals.
Okay.
And then he walks
walks
across.
across,
So
yeah.
that's just
Okay,
a
good.
crack of baloney.
That's that to rest.
Yeah, that's just a wives' tale. And these just tickled my fancy. There's
Stairs.
stairs where you would pick up the ferry, and I just thought that they were so funny.
Yeah.
It just struck me as odd. I came home, I said to my husband, can we do that? He went, no.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
just
the one that's
that's
closed
the
now.
Jacaranda, right? It could be open, but as of a couple days ago, it was still closed.
Yeah.
They're remodeling. And that's just a sign inside the grapes saying that, this is where they played. So
And
it's-
this is whose house is this?
that's Brian Epstein's house.
Okay.
So I'm a big
So you took
fan.
a lot of photos there.
I only took 1,000.
Well, I mean, give or take.
The only reason I
A
know,
few.
yeah, the only reason I know was I took my son's laptop and he had to take them off and put them on the computer, and he's like, my God, Mom.
How many pictures did you take, Mom?
Yeah.
And you said, and I wanted to take more.
I did.
Now, where can people get your book? Because, we have a lot of Beatle fans in the area.
Yes, we do.
And it's funny because you mentioned Beatles, well, I went to the Beatlemania show that was up in Saratoga, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like crowded. I mean, it was sold, the night show was sold out, the
Right.
afternoon show was pretty well filled up. So people do love the Beatles, and I've got to say, they were fabulous musicians.
Yes.
I mean, they were not just a rock group. Their chord changes, everything about what they've written, it stands up. I mean, imagine, many of the songs are just so beautiful.
Right.
It's like, they're an incredible group.
They stand the test of time. We just had the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
And I was in New York down there for the convention, and it was just like it started all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it was day one. But the book right now is in Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
It is on the shelf.
Okay.
And if it's sold out, like it normally
They'll
is,
get more.
just ask and
Yeah.
they'll order more.
Because it's a book that I think if you're a Beatles fan and you read it, you feel like you're walking with you.
That's the whole object of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because someone said that they were going to take it with them and literally walk the walk.
Okay. So this is a tour guide. That's right?
It's kind of like a tour guide, yeah. I mean, you can use it, because I tell you, you go here, you take a left-hand turn, and
Yeah.
So
So
can
did
kind
you
of
meet
use
a
it.
lot of people along the way that asked you, what are you doing? Or are you, I mean, was it something that people kind of were in awe of what you were doing? Or?
I think when I came back the second time, because the book opened up there, that's
Mm-hmm.
where we premiered the book, was in Liverpool. Then there was more people going, you're here for what?
Yeah.
But when I was there, it was just my friends, sitting down, just having coffee, going, yeah, okay, let's go do this. All right, let's go.
Is Beatlemania, I guess we'll call it that, is that a tourist attraction? I mean, do they have like guides taking you on these?
Oh, yeah.
They do. I kind of wondered if it's like Memphis, with Elvis
With
Presley
Elvis,
and
yeah.
Graceland.
Actually, they're my friends who do it.
Oh, okay.
We have one in London, a friend of mine does it, and then in Liverpool there's 3 or 4 different people who do it.
Yeah.
And we did it, but we didn't do it as a tour. We went out as friends.
Yeah, you just did it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to places and came back and said, oh, I heard about this, but I never really saw it. Like when we went this time, I actually found a butcher shop. Well, I didn't, someone else did. The butcher shop where George Harrison worked as a butcher.
He was a butcher?
He was a delivery boy for a butcher shop.
Well, everybody had to do something. I mean, if you got a band, you got to have a day job, you know. And then when they got so famous, they didn't need any day jobs.
Oh, God, no. They had their day job.
They had their day job, and they just kept going. And, you hear about many of they talked about the British invasion. Many of those groups you heard about, and they were gone. And,
Right.
they were there and gone. But the Beatles, like you say, they stand the test of time. Their music stands the test of time. It's used as an orchestra. I mean, you hear it in concerts, and vocalists sing it. I mean, it's an incredibly I love their music. I mean, did I mention that? I love their music.
How can you not?
How can you not love it?
You know?
So whether it's Hey Jude or anything else, and if you're a Beatle fan, check out the book. I think that you'll find it as interesting as I am finding it interesting to learn a little bit more about walking down those streets.
Yeah, and
Abbey
now
Road
the fact
is
that it's just gotten Hong Kong is, for me, it's just amazing.
wonderful. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy.
I'm glad you did this. I'm really glad you did this because it's so nice to know that somebody's taken the time to keep a journal of their trip. And believe me, it's written like you just are right with her. So,
Yeah.
Miss Sandy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're from the area.
I'm
You
from
didn't come from
Waterville.
Arizona?
No. I came from Waterville, so I'm used to the cold weather.
We're going to thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you
We're
for
going to
having
take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to the Erie Canal and finding out a little bit about history there as well. Stay tuned.
Barges. They just went from station to station as you went down the canal, Champlain Canal. So he used to tell us to put our fist right here because he would fall asleep on the pommel. And he was riding, horses maybe 14 miles. And that was a long time. They were long hours because they went slow, pulling the barges. And sleeping and being so young concaved his chest. So we could put our fists right there and he'd laugh and tell us how it happened. Didn't seem to bother him much, but he got a big kick out of our faces, As he grew older and he married and he had his family, when the canal opened up and the lake, he would bring his family with him. Now,
Well, right now I am so pleased to have 2 guests who are going to educate me on the Erie Canal. The only thing I really knew about the Erie Canal was I have a mule and her name is Sal. 50 miles on the Erie Canal, right?
That's
Eric
absolutely
Hamilton.
right.
Eric Hamilton. He is with the Mohawk Towpath Byways, and next to him is Lori Solomon, and she's got a long title. I mean, not her title, she's tourism, but it's the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor.
Yes.
I wanted to get all those words in.
Very well done.
Good,
Thank you.
yeah. You have a lot of stuff coming up. I know we're going to talk about the tourism. Towpath, does that mean I walk or what? What's going on?
As you know, the
I love your
Mohawk
picture,
Towpath.
by the way.
Yeah, welcome to the byway. The byway is the road between Schenectady, Waterford, and Coes that tells the story of the Waterway West, the Erie Canal, and our heritage, the westward expansion of the country, and the role that our communities played in that expansion, and in the I forgot my elevator speech. This is terrible.
Got his elevator.
The role our communities played in the westward expansion of the country and in the Industrial Revolution.
And maybe you can help me on this, but I thought that the Erie Canal it's famous. Everybody knows the Erie Canal. Even in China, they've heard of the elevator.
Certainly, yeah.
It was only used for a short period of time, 12 years or something like that, or? How long
Well,
was it used?
no, it's been used and it's.
Well, I mean
currently-
with the mules.
Oh, with the mules and
Yeah.
the towpath?
I mean, it was used for a short time, really.
Yeah, it started
Was-
in 1825.
It wasn't Seward's Folly. No,
It
what
was expanded in 1842.
Okay.
And there were still mules, towpath, up to the early 1890s.
Okay.
Then tugboats started
Yeah,
to
that's
come
what-
in
that's- I
and,
thought-
and motorized barges.
And the canal, what a lot of people don't realize, it was not that deep.
No. In fact, the original canal was 4 feet.
4 feet
4
deep?
feet deep.
Yeah, and only how many feet wide? Not very.
42, I think. What is
something
it?
like
Yeah.
that. And the enlarged Erie Canal was 7 foot deep.
Yeah.
And
They just
7
needed it
feet
deep
wide.
enough to get the water, to get it moving.
That's right. That's
So
right.
how does the Erie Canal and tourism go together, Lori?
Well, that's a really, I think it's really important to mention that the National Park Service Congress realized the value of this entire corridor, over 500 miles of canalway, canal system, including 2 of the Finger Lakes, and over 200 communities that touch its shores. They realized the value and they designated it a National Heritage Area in 2000. So what we do is to preserve, promote, and protect this entire region. And my area is tourism, and there's just so many stories related to our history. I wasn't going to really mention this. I just suggest your viewers visit our website to see what we do in tourism. But since you talked about the Underground Railroad, I created a statewide map of the Underground Railroad and how it relates to the Erie Canal story. So the canal brought great progress, economic development, but people don't realize that it also fostered social movements. With economic development becomes progress of thought. So it wasn't just by coincidence that the Erie Canal really fostered and was active here. So that's what I have. So as it relates to tourism, I think today we really want to talk
We're
about.
going to look at some photos. Maybe
Oh,
we
okay.
can look at some of those. And maybe
Eric, if you want to talk about, we're talking about adventure tourism and the value. But
Is
if you
this-
want
But,
to,
the byway, as I mentioned, is between Schenectady, Cohoes, and Waterford, and we like to consider ourselves the eastern gateway of the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor. And
there's the corridor.
So we're the first 26 miles of the corridor, and there's plenty to do. And my
looks
passion,
like you can bike it.
my passion is to get people out of their vehicles. For some people, adventure tourism is, just taking a Sunday drive in a place where they haven't been, and we certainly can offer that. But I think to really discover our community, we need to get out of the car. And one of the things that we've done this year is to start cell phone tour. And you'll see these. In fact, this is a copy of the one upstairs on Robb Alley. You can dial the number on the thing or scan the QR code. Are they called? I don't know. Anyway.
That technology is way over my head.
Right. Well, you can, with my flip phone, I can still dial
I'm still
the
using
number.
the track phone. I mean, I don't know.
Right. So the whole idea is to get people out of the cars, and with this cell
can
phone-based
find out
tour,
about it.
You can have local people telling you the story of what they're looking at. For example, Supervisor, I knew I'd be in trouble. My mind is a blank here.
He's in front of a camera. Oh my God.
Clifton Park Town Supervisor will give you a story of the Erie Canal as it passed through Clifton Park, for example.
So you're getting a local view of that.
And you get Phil Barrett's voice describing and inviting people to come and see, what's there as a historic resource.
Now these are really great for the local. Now one of the things that you mentioned, Lori, is that you can run.
Well, yeah.
Run the entire?
Can cycle the entire, and every year there's an annual event called Cycle the Erie, and about 500 people from all over the nation and world and locals sign up, and they cycle from Buffalo to Albany, and it's almost it's a continuous bike path, almost complete, some off the road trails, but it's very accessible, and you have people ranging from 5 to 95.
And they can do a short stretch.
They can do a short stretch.
If they're of
Yes.
a mind to do the whole thing.
Yes, we have people hiking it, and it's really, and you pass through communities, historic communities, and you can experience the culture and heritage there, and the hospitality of amazing communities. But one thing is we're looking to do an ultra marathon from Albany.
Ultra marathon.
Yes, from Albany to Buffalo, and really get our communities engaged, and around the mindset sort of the Tour de France, where as the event goes through the communities will have events and festivals to embrace the arrival of the runners. So
Waving flags.
waving flags, bands, everything. And we've done I've done numerous events planning along the corridor, and our communities are amazing, and they come out in droves just to see people just pass by, and it's really quite exciting.
How fun.
Yeah.
And I understand, and we mentioned before the show that there is an Erie Canal park. What is it? Where you have the mule? Tell me about that.
Oh, in Rome, New York.
Rome,
there's
New York. Okay, there we are.
Yeah.
There's a canal village.
Canal.
Okay.
And that's one of the features. Of course, it's outside the byway, but
Well, I mean, they
and
got to
we do
go
have-
along the byway to
Right.
take a detour, right?
And we talk about the seamless experience. So, going there, it also, in trying to work with our communities, they also promote the byway. So
And
it's,
we mentioned this, that we live in such a historical area.
Right.
And we sometimes think, we have to go out west to see the history, or we have to go to Boston to see the history. But we have so much history right here in our area, in the Tri-Cities, and then all the way along the Mohawk Valley, the Hudson Valley. I mean, it's just incredible. We'll forget the Hudson because that is not the Erie Canal.
but it's part of our system. But
Right.
And we have that national park branding, and you
Yeah.
see our signs as you travel the thruway. In many of our communities, this is entering the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor, and that gives that standard. It sets it higher than really any other area and region. But I do have to say, when I've worked in international markets, people in the international audience are just awed of what we have. And but I think a lot of our communities really appreciate what we have.
Well, and I think what you're doing is to elevate the small communities that are along the path, along the Erie Canal. And I do want to recommend that maybe if you're thinking of a summer trip, maybe this might be a good trip, is to check out the entire length of and you'll end up in Buffalo, right?
Yes.
Or Rochester,
or the
Utica.
Finger Lakes, or up in Lake Champlain.
And all through the summer, there are a series of events that are happening along the canal.
And do you have a website? Can they go to your website to find out?
And
we put them both up there, I think. both.
There is a calendar on the Mohawk Towpath Byway's website. The first event's coming up April 26th, the Apple Blossom Festival at Riverview Orchards.
I know. I think we mentioned that on our newsletter, so we'll make sure that people find out about that.
And from there's a whole series of events all across the Erie Canal corridor.
I want to thank you both for being here. This is really exciting, and I hope that you'll come on again and talk more about the Erie Canal, because I think it's such a treasure in our area.
We'll be happy
I do want to mention who's going to be up next week. We have Jerry Lanou, Jean Hayes, and Rosemary Presbian, and she's there with the Music Company Orchestra. We have Berna and Heyman and Joseph Heyman. They're talking about the Easter egg exhibit in Schoharie, and they're coming up from Virginia to be on the show. This is really great. People are coming from all over. Sarah Hill will be here for the 3rd annual Gospel Jubilee. We have people from the Jewish Family Services Haven reading program in Schenectady, and the history of proctors. More on history. Stay tuned. See you next week. Thanks for watching.
This is not the first day we've ever done this. He's a great guy. He's a very compassionate man, but boy, I'll tell you, everything was always get that line over there, get the pike pole, get that buoy before it gets away, and It was guys like that actually made up the history of the canal. One of the things they said to me is pay attention to what these guys tell you, because they've been doing it a long time and they know how it's done and how it's done right. And 26 years later, I'm repeating the same knowledge exactly the way I was taught to younger guys coming on now, but it's a whole different breed. And if you took any Tom, Dick, or Harry off the street and brought them on, they'd go nuts. They're pacing. When's this boat gonna tie up? When can I get up? You can't. I mean, we can get a boat and take you to shore, but it takes a special breed to come on here and do the jobs that we do the way that we do them.